What's up YouTube, Capital G here, letting you guys know what the heck happened at the 2019 North American World Championship qualifier that took place over the weekend in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This was an event that I watched and I thought was very exciting, but I could only imagine was much more thrilling if you actually were there and attended the event. I think that this NAWCQ in particular kind of displays the growth of the event and these kind of mega tournaments that Konami puts on annually every single year, Euros, the World Championship, the NAWCQ, and just kind of how they've changed and they've grown in stature, because you guys know in the past, these three events have pretty much operated just like YCS's. You know, Saturday, your main tournament, Sunday, the top cut, nothing really happening on Friday. But this year was actually a little different because Konami decided to do a tournament on Friday, kind of like a predecessor to the main event, which it was awesome. It was called the Points Playoff. You guys see two of the players who actually were in the event, including our winner, Gabriel Vargas. You might recognize him from Sammy's channel. He is the winner of the NAWCQ for last year. He won with Goki. Everybody knows Jesse Cotton, kind of like the real life version of Yugi right now. In my opinion, the best player in North America currently. He just won a YCS with Thunder Dragon in Knoxville, Tennessee, not that long ago. The Points Playoff was basically a tournament before the tournament. It included the players who had the most world points to kind of see who was going to get the most world points when it was all done and who would actually be going to Worlds just based on those points. But if you ended up having a lot of points, but maybe you didn't do well enough in this tournament, you still had the opportunity to attend the main event and, you know, just maybe win or get second place and get your ticket to Worlds that way. So I feel like this is awesome because it kind of gives us Yu-Gi-Oh players something to watch and some content for Friday, and it really makes these events feel like a full weekend celebration of Yu-Gi-Oh, not just Saturday and Sunday. And this event, Worlds, or excuse me, the NAWCQ, we definitely had good attendance. You guys know I like to start with attendance. Almost 2,100 players. It did not reach the astronomical numbers we've seen about 2-3 years ago, where I believe it was 3 and 4 years ago, we ended up breaking the attendance records in back-to-back years. Not quite those numbers, but still almost 2,100 players is always respectable for the NAWCQ, considering that this is an invitation event only, or you just, you know, have to get your invite when you're actually out at the NAWCQ. So these events are always going to bring in a lot of people, and even though I kind of feel like a lot of the things actually related to dueling, like the top cut and the players who topped, I feel like that was kind of mundane. It doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot of exciting things going on at the event. So for starters, here's your winner, Dakota Angeloff. He actually played Danger Thunder Dragon and won the event. It was a little weird because he was in the Points Playoff and he had a feature match. This did not come without controversy because he was the one who was actually involved in my video where the guy had got disqualified playing Salamangreats and the whole fiasco with, was he slow playing, was he not? This was the guy who he was playing against. Some people were saying, hey, a cap. I think he was a little sharking. Honestly, I don't think that Dakota was sharking. I think it was a situation where the judges just got overzealous and should not have issued the penalty. I think Dakota was easily going to lose that match, but he ended up switching decks. He was playing Altergeist in the Points Playoff. Then I guess he decided that it wasn't working for him to go for something, I guess, a little more combo oriented, a little more aggressive, and looks like he found his success because Thunder Dragons definitely worked out for him. Nobody could beat him in the tournament, or at least nobody could beat him when it mattered, and he ended up taking the entire thing down. When it came to the Dragon Duel event, it was won by Lucas Oswald, who was playing Salamangreat. He ended up facing Mystic Mind Burn in the finals, and he was like, yo, I am not about to let a Burn player win the NAWCQ, even if it's Dragon Duels. He ended up taking it down. You figured Salamangreats would have a good edge or a good, I guess, chance of winning one of the events. And when it comes to the deck breakdown, you see that Salamangreats, by a very, very, very small margin, just one duelist, was the most popular of a deck at the NAWCQ. Exactly 420, blaze it, Danger players. I assume that means Danger Thunder Dragon Actually, no, it just says Thunder Dragon. Okay, it must mean pure and then also like Danger Thunder Dragon, because there's no way that this many people just play pure Danger version or the pure Danger variant. So you can see that it pretty much was an event where we saw the top 4. I think that most people consider these to be the 4 best decks in the game: Sky Striker, Orcus, Danger or Danger Thunder Dragon, and then Salamangreats. And you saw some of the other contenders, True Draco being quite popular, Altergeist as well, Guru Control, and then some other versions or some other decks like Trickstar. And when it came to the top cut, it was almost 100% chalk. I feel like any one of you guys watching this video could have predicted the 4 most popular decks and could have predicted the decks that would have the most representation in the top cut. This doesn't surprise anybody. We have Orcus and Thunder Dragon both tied with, I believe, 16 players in the top 64, followed by Salamangreats, and that had 14, and Sky Striker, which had 13. This is the established tier 1, and I mean, we knew that these were going to be the best decks. There were not any crazy sleepers. We didn't have a strange deck like Prank Kids, Ultimately Windy of Den, or anything like that. We did have some other decks sneak into the top cut like Mystic Mind Burn. We had Endymion Pendulums. We had Zombies, Pendulum Magicians, Guru Control. Those are all respectable tier 1 decks, but this event, like, don't get it twisted, this event was dominated by the tier 1 and the big 4 decks of our format. But it doesn't mean that there weren't other things that were not interesting, because for starters, and this was just absolutely crazy, when this was announced, I didn't actually believe it. Apparently, and well, no, I can't even say apparently because I watched the match myself with my very own eyes, there was a tie for 64th place. Now, this is absolutely crazy. If you've ever watched like the NCAA basketball tournament, they have a play-in game to see who the last seed is, and basically the tiebreakers were identical for 2 players, and they actually had a playoff on stream to decide. Now, the crazy thing is, because the 64th person was not decided, it basically held up the entire tournament, because 1 through 63 kind of had to sit around and wait for these guys to play. It was awesome. Ultimately, this gentleman did end up winning. It was Orcus versus Trickstar, a pure Trickstar, by the way. I was rooting for Trickstar hard, but it just didn't actually end up happening. Now, there were some other things I found really interesting that Konami posted in their written coverage. For instance, they went around and they were asking a lot of questions, like this article right here, talking about what players want to see at premier events in the future that we don't already have. I think this is awesome. You know, open communication with the players as to how you can improve, you know, your events is always going to be a good thing. People saying here, I want to see GOAT format and generation duels. I want to see dual terminals and more voice actors, more feature matches, more live streams. These are all things that Konami might consider in the future. They also talk about, you know, some cards that we want to see from the anime actually be made into real cards. I really hope that they consider this, because there are still so many hundreds of cards from the anime that obviously have not made it into the physical card game. So these could be things like the Pillager. I remember this, aka Bandit Keith. He just takes a card out of your hand. He used this against Joey in their duel in Duelist Kingdom. Still one of my favorite. That was probably my favorite duel of that entire series, or at least one of them. For your entertainment, actually had a stand set up at the event, and this is cool. They were selling Yu-Gi-Oh Funko Pops as well as the Yu-Gi-Oh cereal. They had the Yu-Gi-Oh candy bars. So if you don't have like a FYE near you and you went to the event, I would have definitely picked up the cereal. The shirt, I told you guys, I don't really care about the shirt, but still, the cereal, even at $12 a box, I'm gonna pick up that cereal. Now, one other thing is, or really a lot of other things, Konami put out a ton of information. To me, this was one of the more exciting things, including the revelation of our next YCS prize card. And no, it is not Crystron Needle Fiber, thank goodness. It appears that, yeah, the Chaos Emperor Dragon Pendulum Monster is officially on borrowed time, because Konami announced that Dueling Dragon is going to be our next YCS prize card. If that name doesn't ring a bell, basically, yeah, Crimson Dragon made into a Link monster. You guys know Ultimate Tezolkin, how that's basically Crimson Dragon in the form of a synchro. Yeah, this is the Link version of it. It's a Link 4. It's a pretty decent card if you can find a deck that can easily summon it, but I mean, getting it obviously is going to be a pain in the neck now, because there's only going to be a few of them floating around and it's going to be an expensive card. Konami also announced Red Eye's Alternative Dragon is going to be in the Megatons for you Joey fans out there. This card will be something that you are pretty much going to be getting very easily. Just get those Megatons and you'll be able to get the card. I think that that is also pretty awesome. We got hard confirmation that Triple Burst Dragon is going to be in the Structure Deck Revolver for the TCG, so don't make the jokes about, oh, they're going to take it out, something like that. Now, it's actually confirmed that it is going to be in there. If Guard Dragon survived the ban list, then obviously this will be a card that sees play in the future. Konami also announced more YCS for next year and one later this year. We got YCS Pasadena coming up in November, and this is crazy. YCS Las Vegas is apparently going to be a team YCS. As somebody who attended YCS Atlanta earlier this year, the only team YCS at that point, you guys need to go to this event. If you live on the West Coast, I'm telling you, all the years I've played Yu-Gi-Oh, 15 years plus, it was by far the most fascinating thing I've ever experienced in this game. So you guys definitely need to find a way to go to this event. We also had obviously information when it comes to Battles of Legends, a lot of imports from the OCG, Link Brains cards like Trap Trick Sarah, Harpy Conductor, also the Link Monster for Speedroids. I still believe that Cyframe Lambda and Scrap Wyvern are going to be in this set, as well as the DDD Link Monster. I just feel like they're going to be in here. Maybe Konami just hasn't revealed those yet, but we're going to know within a couple of weeks, so it's not even going to be that big of a wait. Obviously, Magical Musketeer Max, the card that I was most excited about. And then for some of the standout performers of the weekend, two cards that I definitely noticed. Well, one of them's a package deal, but you get what I'm saying. Number one was No Material. This card is, in my opinion, come full circle. First, people were super hyping it. Then they were like, it's not even that good. Now they started playing it again, and it had excellent results. Very good against like Orcus decks. You wait for them to go into the Cerberus or the Phoenix. You hit it with No Material. Basically, their turn just ends. Very solid against Salamangreats and even Thunder Dragons as well, if you use it on the right cards like Salamangreat Banelinks. And I feel like Jesse Cotton just put the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community on Utopia double, and obviously you gotta run double or nothing, but this is something that I have been doing for weeks now, and I don't understand why more people were not looking at this. I've been saying for a little while, if your deck can consistently make rank 4s, you should be running this card. It's perfectly worth the one brick to basically just win, and we saw in his duel versus Manav in the playoff, or in the points playoff, he ended up OTKing him twice with Utopia double in a Sky Striker mirror match, which is, I mean, how insane is that? Now, don't get me wrong, I never would have thought to play this in Sky Striker, but when you think about it, it does make sense. You have your level 4 in Ray. You can take your opponent's level 4s with Widow Anchor, or you can snatch steal them, or you can, revive them from the graveyard with Shark Cannon, and you also have, Eagle Booster to protect your Utopia cards, so your opponent can't just hit it with, like, Impermanence or Valor or any of the other cards when Eagle Booster is just going to say, nope, I'm just going to win the game. So it actually was a very interesting event, and I want to know what you guys thought. I think that the actual decks were a little mundane, but all the announcements, some of the crazy tech, and everything else just made the event feel, very entertaining, and maybe even more entertaining than in years past. But whatever you guys thought, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.